In the last video that we went through on this channel together, we broke down the official list as posted by Alex Becker himself on almost every single crypto gaming token that he's holding that he thinks is going to do extremely well in 2024. Now, on the bottom of this list was an interesting game, a game that we've probably all heard before, but to be honest, I was a bit surprised that it was on the list and that he has a large exposure to this game. In fact, I've done a lot of deeper research and he actually said, I think we have a nuclear bomb. I'm all in on this game. And if you don't remember what the last game on the list was, it is Pixelmon. And not only does Alex Becker think it's going to do really well, but there's a lot of signs in the narrative that it's going to do really well as the token is not yet launched, but they're about to do their pre-sale. So in this video, we're going to break all that down for you. If that sounds exciting, throw on your Kevin hat, hit that like button for me, and let's get started. So I want to give you a little context before we jump straight into Pixelmon, because this game right here, you may have heard of it before. It's called Palworld, and it's actually taking the gaming community, not the crypto gaming community, the gaming community in general, by storm. You can see it was launched January 18th, 2024, just a couple of weeks ago. But let me give you some mind-blowing stats about this game. First of all, it was made on a budget of just $7 million. If that sounds like a lot of money to you, it's a really small amount to develop a game like this. It was made in just 3 years, but despite this, it holds some pretty serious records. Palworld is the second most concurrently played game ever on the Steam platform, ahead of massive titles like Dota and Counter-Strike. In just the 2 weeks, or just over the 2 weeks since it's been launched, it has 19 million players. And these players have bought the game. You can see on my screen right here, it's about 43 Australian dollars or about 30 US dollars. And they've had almost 20 million sales in just over 2 weeks. And why is because the game is absolutely phenomenal. I did a lot of research into this game myself, trying to figure out why it's doing so well, because when we know when these ones do so well, we can equate it to the crypto world, which is what we're about to do. But have a look at some of these reviews. They're just insane. If you scroll down, you'll see, I think it has like 92,000 reviews, and all of them are really positive for this game. Have a look at this one. It's hilarious. Do not buy unless you want to have your life ruined by one of the most absolute, disgustingly great games that you'll ever play. I mean, an absolute testament to the game. You can see the narrative out there is that this is obviously based on Pokemon, but it's also rivaling Pokemon in its sales and its popularity. It's very much based on Pokemon, but it has a lot of different nuances where it's like a sort of a survival-based game. And I'll put some footage as I'm speaking about this because it just looks really impressive. You can see here, it took 3 days to sell 5 million copies, where Pokemon Scarlet and Violet took 3 days to sell 10 million copies, so double. But have a look at Palworld. Catching Pokemon, which costs hundreds of millions of dollars to develop, an insane IP. It's got 19 million total copies sold now, where the total copies sold for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is only 23 million. Now, what the hell has this got to do with crypto gaming? Well, we know that a lot of crypto games are based in games not in crypto that are doing really well. I mean, why not just take the best of the best games of the real world and then make them blockchain and play to earn and incentivize the players, reward the players, and just ride off the current popularity of something like Pokemon or Palworld and create something like Pixelmon. But if you've heard of Pixelmon before, which I'm guessing you have, because it's one of the biggest memes out there in NFT and crypto gaming, because the original mint, Pixelmon raised over $70 million, 3 ETH per NFT, and this is back in 2022. Bull run, everything going crazy, just for them to reveal art like this. This is the art. It's the most hilarious thing you'll ever see. This is one of the most famous ones. I'm not sure why it's so blurry, but that's Kevin, and he's sort of the mascot of Pixelmon at the moment. Here's another one. I think he's called Bob or something. The most hilarious art. You can have sleeping ones where you can barely see him in the grass. You can see they were minted for 3 ETH and they absolutely fell off a cliff. You can keep going through these most hilarious looking art. There's a sideways dragon down here, and this is like a legit NFT project that raised $70 million. It was a kid in New Zealand who created it. Excellent marketing, excellent name, and this was the art. Absolute flop. So much of a flop that the actual creator of it apologized and was saying that he was going to make it right, but he called it like a horrendous disaster of artwork. Even himself, he admitted it. And so this was sort of where Pixelmon ended up until they got acquired or they got bought out or there's new management, because they have a massive team right now. And this is what Pixelmon currently look like. This is their website. You can see they've got Pixelmons and trainers, just like in Pokemon, you got Pokemon and actual trainers. Over 7,000 trainers available, 68 Pixelmons. You can go over to OpenSea and see them all. But the artwork is, and you can actually see what's the floor right now, 1.5 ETH. So it's well back up from where it was. And they actually look way better than as you saw the Kevins and the Bobs on the original mint. Now, they've got a lot of things going for them. We're not going to do too deep of a dive. I want to show you the highlights that I thought were intriguing. This is their team. You can come over to their full white paper and read it. This is the team. There's an advisor section which has some pretty top tier advisors if you want to go through them yourself. They've actually got more advisors than this. This is not updated. I'll throw it on the screen, the actual new advisors. And then this is the team section, where if you keep scrolling, you're like, oh my God, this is a massive team. This is like no joke. This is a real game. This is AAA, well, not quite Nintendo level, but look at how many people on this team. In fact, I counted up how many artists there were, people in charge of the artwork. I think there's 24 or 25 people on the team who's just creating the artwork. So this is a really big operation. This is one that's going to obviously go into the hundreds of mils, if not potentially, at least the bull market will probably cross that $1 billion valuation mark. You can see they've actually raised money. And why would they raise money? Because they had $70 million in the treasury. They said that they wanted to give people a chance to invest before it blew up. They said that we didn't need the money, we had a lot of treasury, but we wanted the backers of these big brands, people like Merit Circle, people like Animoca Ventures. There's a few other ones in here which are big time investors who they really wanted on their side. And while we're on their Twitter, you should actually see their Twitter. Their Twitter is phenomenal. Obviously they got the gold badge, which is always interesting to look at and intriguing. People, I forget how much it is. It was $1,000, $10,000 a month. I think it's $1,000 a month. They got 232,000 followers. They're posting consistently, posting a lot of awesome stuff with really good engagement as well. And they're actually doing a big influencer push. And one of the big influencers they have, of course, is Alex Becker. And if you're like, oh, why are you always talking about Alex Becker? Watch our last video. We think that Alex Becker can make us millions and millions of dollars over the next 12 to 18, maybe 24 months by just following him in crypto gaming. So of course we're going to keep talking about it. Of course we're going to be focused on him. This is where he mentions it in his last video. This is where he says they're going to be absolutely incredible. I'll stitch this into the video now.
I think we have just a nuclear bomb right here. So I'm all about Pixelmon right now. It's coming later this year, the coin, the drops and everything like that. So I'm all about it.
And so you can see that Becker has an allocation because Mon is going to be the token. It's a Mon community pre-sale here, and it's going to be the governance token inside the Pixelmon ecosystem. I'll put this link in the description for you if you want to check it out and get your own pre-sale access. All the frequently asked questions are over here on the side. You're going to need a Pixelmon NFT or a trainer NFT, and you can get them off OpenSea. You can see down here the sort of allocation you get for each NFT. So if you have common, you get 1 unit of allocation. If you have legendary, you get 5 units of allocation. So basically a legendary Pixelmon will get 5 times the amount of allocation to the pre-sale than a common one. Mythic, of course, 15, and a gold trainer also gets 15. Now, they've got a second part to this, which is an interesting one because they have a lot of pull. They got the massive team, they got the massive brand that everyone's already heard of, even if they associate it with the old Kevin. Now the narrative is this is turnaround, and this is the Palworld of crypto. And so this is going to blow up, and they got all the influencers and all the advisors on board. So they're making it quite hard to access this pre-sale. So you also need a code. You can see a waitlist code, and one code gives one wallet the opportunity to purchase one lot. Where do you get the codes from? The codes come through the NFTs. 3 codes per NFT. And then if you have more rare NFTs, you get more codes. There's also the ability to get codes over on their Twitter. I saw they do spaces and they release codes as they do their spaces. But you are going to need a code and you are going to need an NFT if you want to get the allocation. The only other way to get it is these special missions. So you can go to Mon protocol. So like Gunzilla is to off the grid, Mon is going to be to Pixelmon. And you can see if you come over to this one here, there are missions you can go on, and it's basically sharing this and referring people into the ecosystem if you don't want to fork out the money for the NFT or fork out money or try and track down one of those codes and do it that way. You can put time in instead of money in. Now, if you are interested in accessing this pre-sale, be wary, because they have a lot of power in their court. People like Alex Becker and other influencers, they have allocations behind the scenes. You don't know what price they're getting at. And as Alex Becker says, never buy as soon as a token launches because it's going to go up and then down. And then if it's good, like Pixelmon is, it's probably going to come up and re-find the equilibrium of where it's actually valued at. We also don't know what sort of dilution it has. We have no idea what sort of tokenomic schedule of vesting it has. It's just not out there yet. As it does come out, we will update you, so make sure you are subscribed. And apart from that, I'll see you in the next video.